Welcome to Flex Your Future, a Trust and Ed original here on CAN TV 21. My name is Ranson Truss, founder and CEO of Trust and Ed. Flex Your Future is a career and education series designed to give people honest insight into different career pathways of education, options, and real-world outcomes so they can make informed decisions about their future. Each episode features conversations centered on clarity, purpose, and planning, because education works best when it's intentional. So, I have an amazing guest on my show today. We talked a lot about highlighting different careers, and that's my job, is to bring to you all the different career opportunities and education requirements that may be needed in order to get into that line of work. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all careers out there. There's over 250 different careers within the U.S., but I was able to locate one, which I think is huge, administrative services. And this individual, who's to my right, I think to your left, I'm not sure how the camera's positioned, has a strong background in administrative services with over 13 years plus in education and 5 years of that in administration services. Her name is Sabrina Biggus. Thank you for coming on the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career role?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I've been working in the educational background for a little over 13 years, now in administration for going on 5 years pretty soon. So that's a pretty exciting journey. But I guess, just entering into this career field, it was a little bit of a rocky juncture. It wasn't something that was necessarily planned, but it's definitely something that I've grown to love, which is why I continue to do it.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for that information. So if you can get really down to the facts, because the individuals out there really want to find out more about this career. So we just kind of wing it as we go through life. We don't really know. Sometimes we don't know. Not everyone. Some people just know exactly what they want to do, and that's our job at this point, is to give you that insight of what it is that I'm supposed to do early on. For my young students coming out of high school, going into college, we want to give you those resources and tools that you need to be successful in your educational journey, and career journey. So, how did you get started in your career?
Oh, goodness. So, fun fact, I never intended to go in administration.
Absolutely.
I graduated from Howard University with my Bachelor's of Science in Sport Management.
Really?
Yeah. And then I earned my MBA from Keller Graduate School of Management, focusing on general management. And then I have a graduate certificate in customer experience management. So, a lot of management pieces. Administration was never, I guess, the goal. But coming straight out of college, my first, I guess you could say, real job that paid me a decent wage and gave me some benefits, it was education related. So I found myself entering into that journey of the student life cycle. I started in student finance, and then from there matriculated to academic advising, admissions. So I have seen all walks of life when it comes to higher education.
Got it. So you just stumbled into the industry.
I did.
Pretty much. And that's what a lot of adults do. We stumbled into our career. We're like, wait a second, this is amazing, right? How did I end up here? Thank you. So that's a lot. You hear that all the time. But sometimes it takes a long time for us to fall into that career. And that's what we're trying to avoid, right? All those years spent, that burnout, right? Of being in a career industry that you just don't love, you don't enjoy. And you hear it all the time when they talk about if you love something, you'll never work a day in your life. That's true. It's true. I love what I do. This is fun, right? I get to reel around in my chair, but I'm not going to do that. Hopefully I didn't move too fast. So I know that you stumbled into that career, but you mentioned a lot of credentials that you do possess.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that by working in education, prestigious college that you work in, what are the education requirements to get into that line of work? And what I mean by that is when we talk about degrees, certifications, training, can you lay that out for us?
So working in administration, depending on what area of administration, whether you're doing education, human resources, any type of project management, when you're working with administration, you want more so of a managerial background. So I can say a lot of organizations and companies might not necessarily be looking for a master's degree, but absolutely you want to make sure you have at least your bachelor's degree, just so that way you can show that you have some sort of formal training in the managerial area.
Got it. Thank you so much for that. So, you guys got it. Did you get it? Did you get what's needed? Can you highlight the main thing?
Yeah, so bachelor's degree in any type of managerial area, so whether it's just your BA in management, if you're wanting to focus on human resource management, project management, but something that shows that you have those leadership qualities, that you're able to take on tasks, that you're able to, just lead and in a productive way. You want to make sure that you have some sort of bachelor's, I would say. I have seen some people come in with maybe an associate's, but typically people in that range, they're going further to earn their bachelor's as they're working.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. And I wanted her to rewind that information because it's really critical for you to get it. So we want to really find out more about the industry. So now we have a better understanding of the education requirements. We know what you had to take, what was required of you to get into the industry. What is that typically, what does an everyday look like? A day-to-day look like in that industry, in that position as an administrative services?
Oh, goodness. So there is nothing typical about my day-to-day. It fluctuates so vastly. So when I first started in the field, I knew I was coming in, I was going to my desk, I had to make a certain number of calls to a certain number of students, review a certain number of accounts, and everything was very laid out for me. When I started working in administration, it was completely different. I very quickly learned that I created that structure for myself. So I wasn't held to metrics. I'm not held to metrics. I, create my own calendars. But in doing that, my leadership team places a lot of trust in me because I have to make sure that while I'm creating my own calendars and structuring my own deadlines and times, that I am adhering to, things like registrar's deadlines and, when students have graduation requirements. So I do have to make sure I'm following those aspects, but it's really on me. So it's a lot of accountability on my end.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And so basically there's no set day that you just walk in and there's no set agenda, that you walk into.
No, not at all.
What's the craziest day? Tell us all about that, if you could.
Well, it depends. So coming into this administrative role, I focus a lot on working with my students, making sure that they're meeting graduation progress. I make sure that they, have things on file for their theses that have to be submitted. If they are registering for classes and need manual registration, I handle things in that aspect. I reserve rooms. I manage calendars. I plan events. I manage and uphold our student lounges. So I do a lot in my day-to-day. Like I got in this morning and I looked at our student lounge and I'm like, oh, we're missing some things. Let me go down to the mailroom. Let me see what's been delivered. Let me make sure it's stocked. Let me make sure the students have what they need. So it's very up in the air on a day-to-day.
Well, thank you so much for going in depth with that. So we talked about how crazy it can get. What are the highlights about the industry, right? So let's talk about what's exciting about the industry, or when you walked into, what do you enjoy most about the industry that you work in?
There are a few things that I really enjoy about it. I would say the biggest thing is because I do have the flexibility in structuring my own day-to-day, as long as, of course, I'm managing the aspect of the role, I have a lot of home work balance. So being a mom, I have 2 kids, I don't miss a beat with my kids. And that was very important for me when I started in this role. I made that very clear that hey, you hired me to do a job, I'm going to do that job and I'm going to do it to an excellent ability, but my family is a priority, my hours with my kids are a priority, and that has been able to happen for almost 5 years now, which I'm very grateful for. So just having that flexibility is a huge bonus for me, but then also just being able to assist the students. When I think back to when I was in undergrad, I just always, I don't want to say always, but there were many moments when I would feel like a number. I would feel like I'm getting the runaround. No one wants to help me. So coming into this higher education career field, I made it a goal of mine to make sure that students, at least when they worked with me, they did not feel that way. They did not feel like they were being passed along. I go out of my way, like we do wellness events. Just a couple of weeks ago, we got cookies for our students in the student lounge. And I had students pop in my office like, thank you so much. I needed that break. I really appreciate the cookies. And in my mind, I'm like, well, they're cookies. But then, to think about the things that students go through, especially during the times of midterms and finals, like those little breaks, while they might seem minuscule to us on the administrative side, they're huge to students. So I always want to make students feel like, they're seen, that they're getting the assistance that they need and that they pay for. College is not a cheap venture.
It's not. It's not. And that's critical to make sure that you are aware of what you're getting into. And that's exactly why we're doing this show, is to inform you, expose you to these different industries. And every month, I'm going to have a different guest on, but we're not going to jump ahead. We're going to stay in the present. Mindfulness. I learned that in school. So talk to me about the challenges that individuals should be aware of when entering this profession.
So I will say, if you are not a person who is organized, this is probably not the field for you. There are, in any moment, multiple things that I could be handling, whether it's reading an email, handling a registration, ordering supplies, setting up an event, working with a vendor, and I just have to boom, 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 keep all my ducks in a row, which is why I live by a million calendars. But yeah, organization is absolutely key. If you do not have that characteristic, this might not be the role that you want to venture into.
So those are the challenges, right? Is being organized, which kind of leads me to my next question. So one important skill, we talk about skills, developing skills as you grow in these industries that you work in. What are other skills that they're looking for in an administrative services? And real quick, when you think of the administrative services, that is the backbone of the industries.
Yes.
Can you highlight, before we go into the skill, can you kind of highlight all the different roles that may exist within that industry or other industries as an administration? Like, I don't even know how to word the question because, again, it's so much that I'm finding out when I read into it, but you are a professional. This is what you do, right? What are certain roles that individuals have in that industry, and what are the key skills that are needed to be successful within that industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, coming from a field that I'm in, higher education, or even other organizations, as the administrators, we are the keeper of the keys. We hold the secrets, we hold the passwords, we pretty much know everything to make the organization function. So depending on what type of role you're in or what type of field you're in, discretion is absolutely key. I know for us, we have, student records and student situations where they might have to take leave, and personal and medical matters that we have to be very discreet about. So that's one aspect. You have to, know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So that, on top of course, organization, you have to be accountable. You have to be trustworthy. There are days when my director might email me like, hey, I'm not coming in today. Can you handle this, or can you schedule this? So you have to be dependable, very dependable. Showing up late isn't really going to cut it. Leaving early, not going to cut it. Like you mentioned, we're the backbone of the organization. We handle all of the minute and intricate details that people don't necessarily think about. When the printer runs out of ink, you're like, hey, we need ink. And I'm like, oh, I already ordered it. So those are the things. Like, you have to be mindful. You have to pay attention to details, and you just have to always know what's going on around you. You have to know what's going on before someone else can bring it to your attention and ask you for it.
So, super important. Mm-hmm. Being able to pivot, not having an attitude when someone asks you to do something, right? Yeah. So how often does that occur where you walk in that day that day, right? Let's say if it's a Monday, you walk in on a Monday, and it's not the way it's supposed to be, but you are expected to get everything back on track.
Oh, very often. Very often. Students, like I said, sometimes won't even schedule an appointment. They'll just pop in my office with an issue or a question, and I might be, answering emails, taking my specific time to answer emails, or even eating lunch. And I'm not going to, turn a student away. So you have to immediately just be able to be helpful. I think that's the big thing, is you have to have a helpful mindset. Just remembering, like, hey, this person is in need of something. So as the administrator, we're typically, the first that staff come to, the first that students come to, because again, we know all of the intricate details of the organization and operation. So we get a lot of very impromptu pop-ups in our offices, and hey, can you jump on Zoom really quick? So we have to be able to pivot very quickly.
The word, again, pivot, right? I can't stress that enough. Too many times where I'm in office and somebody is complaining about, this is not what I expected today. It's life.
Right.
Life, right? You hit a pothole. It's not what I expected today. That's only in Chicago, by the way, that you hit potholes. I've never been anywhere else outside of it just happens in Chicago. So, and I appreciate, again, you asking or answering these questions. You're letting the world know what to expect. So I want to go back to a previous conversation that we were having earlier. Mm-hmm. We were talking about the different positions within administration. I want to be a little bit more specific. At this moment, you're working in the education industry.
Yeah.
Where can you find other administration roles within other industries?
I would say probably like just job searching platforms. So, LinkedIn is absolutely an amazing starting point. Depending on what type of industry you're looking for, I know I can speak to higher education. Like, there are professional organizations that most career fields have. I know for administrators in higher education, we have NASPA, the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators. So just checking into those professional avenues, of course, your job search boards. I would really focus on, depending on the field that you're looking to go into. So maybe if it's not higher education, if it's project management, if it's business, you would want to start there, because ultimately everyone's always looking for an administrator. Like, things need to be handled for an organization to run. So if you don't have a good administration team, then it's going to go downhill pretty quickly. So if you're looking for an administration role, definitely those job search boards, or even different recruiting companies are good avenues as well.
Got it. And so is there, when you think about the administrative role, mm-hmm. What is the next level to that? Is that is that something secret? Do we just keep, do we not talk about it in administration? Is there like a administrator, management administrator? Like, how does that work?
So it's funny that you ask that, because one thing I learned coming into this role is that there is not a specific career trajectory. So working for an online higher education organization, it was very structured. It was, mm-hmm. you came in, you were level 1, you went to level 2, senior, and there were avenues to progress. Whereas with the on-campus universities, a lot of the roles that are held, have been held for people for numerous years. Mm-hmm. So in order to grow in a role like this, it's really about building relationships. It's really about learning the organization. It's really about being flexible, because if you have to, just make the ultimate decision to leave your role and apply for a higher level role, you want to be in a good position to do that.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us. And you mentioned earlier that you have a bachelor's degree in sports management. Again, not in administration, right? In sport management. Pivot, right?
Right.
What was the game plan at that point? And I want the audience to know, you had this dream to go into sport management. I'm assuming you play sports.
I did.
All right. What sport? Are you able to share?
So I grew up an athlete. I did volleyball. I did cheerleading for a little bit. I did softball. almost did track and field, but that, interrupted with volleyball season, so I didn't go that route. But I guess my plan going into my undergraduate program was sports is what I know. It was comfortable. It was familiar. So I just did what I knew. And I wasn't in a position in my life where I'd figured out what I truly enjoyed yet. So coming into that atmosphere, just dealing with, the background in sports, the logistics, having classes with athletes, it was a very male-dominated field. So it was a little tougher for us women in the organization and in the industry, at least from what I saw. And I am not the type of person where, I'm not the shark. I'm not out here trying to sell, and I that's just not my personality. So I learned very quickly that sports was not the avenue. I mean, unless I was going to coach, which I like to do just on volunteer time, but to do it professionally, I ultimately decided to, again, pivot. And again, it was just coming into that first roll out of college and discovering what I truly enjoyed doing.
Thank you so much for sharing that and going deep and letting us in, Sabrina. We really appreciate that. I wanted people to be aware of, hey, we at this, when you're in college or you come out of high school, you may have a thought. And the world, think about it for a second. The world was, if you're at a big school, maybe 3,000 students, right, in high school. And then you come to this campus with 20,000 students, 30,000 students. And then you're exposed to all these other careers within the school. Your high school did not have all these programs.
Right.
It's impossible for them to carry the same amount of programs as a university, right, or trade. Right? So it's now you're saying, wait a second, I didn't know this exists.
Right.
Did you know that 70% of college students change their majors within the first 3 years?
I know I did.
70%. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So what we're trying to do is change, rearrange, get students early on, start identifying your purpose, start identifying what steps you need to take in order to get to that purpose, in order to accomplish that goal. What kind of education is needed in order to accomplish that goal, right? Whether it's training, certifications, associates, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, or the military. What is it? But we first have to identify the goal. And for you, because in high school, because in childhood, I wanted to play sports, I want to help out here, and then you were exposed to something different, something new, and was like, hold on, there's more out there. And you kind of stumbled across it.
I think it was discovering something that I wanted to be a part of a change with. Because again, just as a student, feeling like you're not seen, feeling like you're not heard, feeling like you're just a number, it's not a good feeling to have. So I wanted to be a part of that change, just ensuring that students that I worked with didn't feel that way.
Wow. So if you can give any advice to adults that are seeking change, that are looking to get within this industry, what kind of advice would you share? And can you elaborate for us if you could?
Yeah, sure. So looking to get into this industry, you have to have a passion for people. Working in education, especially in today's day and age, there have been so many changes within education, so many changes within the structure, the policies, and a lot of things are unknown to students, unknown to parents. So you have to, just be wanting to help. You have to be wanting to help. You have to be wanting to be a part of the change because, education is the pathway to where our future is going to be. So you have to be just wanting to be, helpful for people.
So you have to be a person that enjoy helping others.
Yes.
You have to have a good spirit, good heart. A people person. That is a skill that is needed in this industry. Again, if you're only thinking about yourself, that's okay. All right. But how far are you going to go? How far do you plan on going? Someone helped you. Someone helped me. Did someone help you?
Absolutely.
Someone helped. So, and we're helping you at this moment. So, is there anything, not the adults, right? Let's talk to the kids for a second. Let's talk to the high school graduates, the college students that are still trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. What do you have to say to them when you think about your journey, when you think about your choices that you made early, and then changing your choices, pivoting and changing, redirecting, and going into the career that you're in now? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say really allow wisdom to sink in. When you have, people who have been down this road on this journey for so many years, and they're trying to instill wisdom on you, just soak it up, accept it, embrace it. Because there are so many times when I think back to when I was younger, and all I can think is, man, if I knew back then what I know now, and just the amount of people that tried to pour into me, and, just being young, not necessarily wanting to accept and embrace that, I think that I would be further along than I am now. Mm-hmm. Maybe not necessarily on a different path, but just a little further along, just having soaked up that wisdom a little earlier in life.
That is important. And again, it goes back to not the word we talk about all the time, and I love to say it, the word pivot, but you really have to be open-minded. Mm-hmm. You really have to be open-minded. You have to be receptive to feedback. I can't pour into you if you think you know it all.
Right.
Don't walk around thinking that you know it all. Number one, I won't want to talk to you. I just won't. It's hard for me to try to pour into someone or give any advice to someone that just thinks that they know it all. So you have to just be open. Yes, I'm going on a second master's degree, but I am still learning. Mm-hmm. They talk about we should always be willing to learn. Yes. How can you ever progress? All right. Imagine if you think back to the first computer, if it would have just stayed the same.
Oh my goodness.
We'll still be waiting on dial-up.
How big those computers were.
We'll still be waiting. Floppy disk, where are you? Right? So change is inevitable. And that means you as well. Embrace it. Lean into change. And if you lead by example, the next generation would. Mm-hmm. The next generation would.
Absolutely.
Here's what I want to say. I appreciate everyone tuning in today. I appreciate you coming in on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I really do. I learned so much about the administrative services. I don't know a lot. I think I do, but I don't. So I just wanted to share this information with you. So thank you for joining us on Flex Your Future. To learn more about career pathways, education options, and the Flex Your Future courses, visit trustanded.org. Join us next time as we continue exploring real careers, real experiences, and real pathways forward. I'm Ranson Truss, founder of Trust and Ed, and this is Flex Your Future.